Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Here's another reel that's failed. We've been doing those. One of my favorite reels. This one is a Penn Captiva. It's the CV6000. I have one of these. This isn't mine. This was brought in. It's missing the bump clip here. This one was brought in because the bail is failing. If you do it, it's just not tripping. Well, we want to find out what in the world is going on with this and determine why this reel has failed, because quite honestly, beautiful reel. There's a little bit of a grinding noise in there. We'll deal with that another time. Right now we're just going to try and figure out the cause for the bail failure. But if you find yourself in this situation, you can't fix it. Let's say something's broken. Well, you can always manually trip this one. It's going to stay. So that's a nice deal by itself. But I'm noticing a couple of things right away. If I take the 2 points of the bail and I pinch it, you're going to see a lot of movement in there. You can see how my fingers are moving and how those points or arms are moving in and out. That generally means that this spring is bent. So let's, or wire. So we're going to start just by doing that. We're going to take this bail wire off. And while we do that, I'll remind you that if you like these kinds of videos, I would ask you to subscribe. That's the best way to see all the ones that I post. And if you do that, please, by all means, go ahead and hit that notification button so you don't miss it. Well, here's a great indication that it is bent right there. This post, without any stress, should line up with this bail arm. Well, look how far out it is. That says it's bent. All right, we're going to just take this off for a moment here if we can. We'll remove that wire because I want to see next, will the arm fire with the bail wire removed? Well, this is just a floating arm side. This is the trip lever side. There's still a little piece in there that might poke out, so I'm going to see if I can't just get that out right now. Typically, I'll run that test and that washer will go flying somewhere. So let's pretend that we've got it loaded, and let's see if that fires when I twist the arm. Well, that's not firing either, so we've got two issues now. Well, that seems like a good enough snap there. Maybe that it's overextended. All right, we're going to do a couple of things here. Let's go back for a moment here. Let's make sure those are tight. Let's take this rotor off and see why or what's going on with that trip. This is one of the most common problems that I actually get in fishing reels is my bail doesn't work. And a lot of times my bail doesn't work because you've run into a problem here with the wire being bent. Well, this one looks like we've got some kind of white lithium grease or something on it. Never a good idea, but for now, again, that's not the problem with this reel. We've also got a screw that says somebody's been inside because the screw is partially loosened. We'll take that off. Again, I'm not here to do too much with this reel other than try to get this bail to trip at the moment. That's because we're dealing with why do fishing reels fail. I like to work on bails off of the reel as opposed to having them on the reel. And that's just because I don't have to wrestle with a lot of the mechanics that otherwise would be there. I got a 12mm nut. First thing I've done is I've turned it in a loosening manner. It doesn't work, or it tightens it up. So let's turn it in the opposite manner. See if that helps remove it. And it does. And then we should be able to just do the rest by hand. Removing the nut, I put these into a parts tray, and that's so that I have a common place where they're all located. The bigger parts I'll just leave on the side, but if you use that parts tray, generally speaking, you're going to have a success there. All right, this is a mess. I don't know who decided that they thought that this was a good idea, but we've got a load of this grease on a part that shouldn't be lubricated, which is your anti-reverse. This almost looks like, I don't even know what it looks like, melted marshmallow. I don't know what this grease is. But you shouldn't be using grease on an anti-reverse clutch. Now, that's somebody's issue for another day. And then look at what we have here. I don't even understand why that would be there, because that's not a moving part, but we've got that nonetheless. All right, I started this by not wearing a glove because I assumed I was going to have a nice clean little exercise here and that I wouldn't need it. Well, isn't that the make a liar out of me all the time situation? We're just going to clean up enough of this. I want to make sure that the little tag arm here, that as the bail trip comes down, and it does, and then of course the other side of it says it's got to push up to fire the pin. So that seems to be okay. We're going to give you an inside look. I want to make sure that the ramp is okay here. The ramp doesn't seem to be terribly worn. So when that button on this side comes down, like that, it should be able to push up off the ramp to fire that pin. So let's take a look at what the mechanism is underneath here. We should see that Z-bar that's moving up and down, and we should see a coil spring of one of two descriptions. Okay, well, we have a carrier here with the coil spring in it. That's operating fine. And we have the trip lever. So I think what we've come down to is that this is not the issue, that the issue is with that bent bail wire. So let's go back up top there, see if we can't rebend this into shape and get this thing to fire. It appears that somebody's tried to work on this in the past. There seems to be some little parts that are bent in that. Not a problem. Don't force anything when you're working on a fishing reel. Don't force anything. If something is not working properly, well, the answer to that is to take your time, take it back off, and try and figure out why it's not working properly, rather than doing the force field kind of a thing. Okay, to put the bail in, you kind of go about 180 degrees opposite of where it should turn. And this is where I'm thinking we're getting all of that stress from. This one should be real easy. Pinch it in and just keep working with it. Until you see that you're aligned with that arm without any tension. Now, sometimes you have to come over to the other side. Now we're almost there. One more little. So you can see just by itself how easy it is to have this thing bent. And when it gets bent out of shape, well, that's going to be where your issue is. All right, we're going to do this again. Put that little button back in there. We have a bearing and a line guide. They go on. Line that up. Bring this back in. That's the set screw for the. No, that's not the bail arm screw. This is the bail arm screw. So that's where a parts tray helps. You can always find the piece you're looking for if you know where you put it. And if you always put it in the parts tray, it's going to be there. Well, like I said, we're going to clean this up another time. Right now, the mission is to try and see if we can't make that bail work properly. So we'll reinstall the rotor. Remember, this came off in a clockwise manner, so it goes back in a counterclockwise manner. Just like that. This gets tightened up. Now, normally I would put that set screw in, but I'm going to go back and clean that mess up. So right now, I just want to make sure that that we are okay on the bail side. So here's your bail. Here's your trip. Here's your bail. There's your trip. So what did we learn from this? We learned that if you have a lot of tension in that bail wire, well, Your bail's not going to trip. It's going to do what it was doing before. We cleaned up some of that muck underneath there. I don't think all that marshmallow type stuff in the rotor was the actual problem. I know it was the bail wire. That's why I decided to take this course to show you. So that's it. That's how to diagnose a problem on why our fishing reel was failing and how to correct it. In this case, we diagnosed it as the bail and how to correct that bail trip. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you like these types of videos. If you have a question on this reel or any reel in particular, please ask it. To all that have been working hard to keep us safe during the pandemic, thank you for everything that it is that you do. We appreciate all of your efforts and dedication to task. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.